What's up, everybody? My name is Admiral Redbeard, and welcome to my new gaming news show, GameWare Weekly. Yes, we got a name. This is the type of show that we stream on Fridays, release on Sundays for things that you probably heard about on Mondays. This is the second episode that I've ever done, so I'm still just kind of figuring things out as we go. If you're ever wondering exactly why I stream it on Fridays to release it on Sundays and not just today, well, that's because I came up with that whole bit and I really liked it, so I'm just going to stick to it. Anyway, so I got a bunch of stories here for you this week. Hopefully that we can get some talking points going as we do it, and hopefully everything sounds good out there for you all, and we're just going to jump right in. Hope you all are having a great week on this July 8th day. And let's jump right into our first news story of, let's see, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 stories for you today. We'll see if we can go for the full hour, if we can get some conversation going. And here we go, everybody. So the first story that I'm going to bring up is coming from Game Rant. This is by Joshua Duckworth, and this has been talked about kind of all week. There was a rumor that Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption remaster plans were scrapped. Rockstar Games recently announced Grand Theft Auto 6, and many fans are excited about the future of the franchise. Next to nothing is known about the game, but with any luck, Rockstar will reveal more information on it sometime soon. Meanwhile, many fans are curious about other Rockstar titles. The reportedly canceled Bully 2 project report last year caught some eyes, while many rumors point towards remasters. And then there was a tweet put out by Tez2. He's a known Rockstar Red Dead Grand Theft Auto community. While everything not directly from the company should be taken with a grain of salt, Tez2 is a more reliable source than some other anonymous user on the internet. The remasters of Grand Theft Auto 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1 were planned a few years ago. However, at some point, and for unspecified reasons, Rockstar is said to have scrapped those plans. Tez2's tweet straight up says, as per a reliable source with clear accuracy on Rockstar's planned remasters of GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption 1 were on the table a few years ago, but Rockstar chose not to proceed with the projects in mind. The poor reception of the trilogy of Grand Theft Auto might be the reason behind that decision. So what it seems like, obviously a lot of different types of games that Rockstar is trying to work on, but we all want Grand Theft Auto 6. We've had Grand Theft Auto 5 since the PlayStation 3. It is a very old game at this point, all things considered, really. And we haven't had a main Grand Theft Auto, well, I mean, since 5, so I mean, we've had in the 3, the 4, the 5, Xbox, all of that. So I don't know if anybody out there played the remasters of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, but they had a lot of serious technical issues when they came out, so they were met with really poor reception. Not a lot of people were very happy. It wasn't just graphically. There was even things in the game that you couldn't progress. So them moving forward to work on Grand Theft Auto 6 as opposed to working on those other things, I think is a good call. If they really wanted to get those definitive editions out and the remasters of those, I think putting those out to a third-party developer would probably be a better bet. Just give it to them, make them polish it up, and go from there. I mean, I love Grand Theft Auto, and it sucks to think that, I mean, I've only played the story once, and I played it when it first came out. Beat it. Grand Theft Auto Online has always been fun, and I mean, I love that game, and I plug it in every once in a while, and there's so much new stuff in there, and I think their online model has been one of the best. I wish that a lot of other games to this day would have done more with the way that they have it, It started with, 16 people online, just however you want to do it, in private servers, this and that. Yeah, it was a little wonky for a while, but I'm just surprised that no one has implemented that type of open world, just online gameplay. And if they have, I don't know about them. So, but, oh man, I was going to WD-40 this chair. Because you can hear everything on it. Oh, hey, King Kong Dong. I'm doing good, man. So it's exciting to see that they're going to get into it. I don't think that we'll see anything of Grand Theft Auto 6 at least not even a trailer or anything of the sort till the end of next year into 2024, to be perfectly honest with you. So It's in development, and when that game comes out, it'll take over the world, just like Grand Theft Auto 5 did. What are you guys' thoughts on getting ready for Grand Theft Auto 6? Are we ready for more? I think a lot of people are. Let's move on to our next story. This one will be a really quick one, because this one affects a lot of people, but not as much as... not a lot of people think about it. This article comes from Gaming Bolt. This was posted by Shunal Doke? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Ubisoft announces decommissioning of online services for several older games. Now, that probably doesn't seem like too much of a big deal, but there's not a whole lot that, you can't just go back and do this. And I'll get to the reason why this is going to be a big deal in a second. Ubisoft has announced that it is disabling the online services for a number of its older titles. The decommissioning of the online services on these games will happen on September 1st and include some of Ubisoft's biggest hits from the last decade. Here's a complete list of the games, along with their platforms, that will have it disabled. Anno 2070, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Liberation, Revelations, Drivers San Francisco, Far Cry 3, the 2012 release, Ghost Recon Future Soldier, Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands, Rayman Legends, Silent Hunter 5, Space Junkies, Splinter Cell Blacklist, and Zombie U for the Wii U. That last one's not that big of a deal. It's worth noting that the vast majority of these games are from 2 console generations ago, and as such, the disabling of their online services shouldn't be too surprising. As part of the process, players will not be able to play multiplayer, link their Ubisoft accounts in games, or use online features. The PC versions of all these games will also be losing access to DLC. This includes trying to reinstall previously purchased DLC. Ubisoft has also made it clear that games with more recent HD re-releases will not face any discontinuation of online services on September 1st. So, obviously, servers getting shut down, that's nothing new. It happens. Like, paying for those servers for games that are 10, 12, 11 years old at this 10, 12, 11, whatever, is not surprising. It's the losing access to the DLC. So and I might have to be corrected on this, but if I own the DLC on some of these PC games or PS3 games, and I have to reinstall the game, and I can't go back and reinstall those DLC packages, that sucks. So I feel like they need to work on how you could still be able to get that without keeping those servers open and like moving them to something else, because yes, I get it, you want to move to newer generations, but there's also at the same time, like, I mean, for most of those Assassin's Creed games, yes, I have them all on their later generations, but if they didn't come out with remasters of those, and I wanted to go back and play Assassin's Creed 2, I couldn't get 2 of the DLCs that I paid for back then. That sucks, because they didn't come with the game. So that's the biggest takeaway from this. Yeah, it's funny that's kind of the way that things, it goes that way. So, obviously, to my knowledge, I mean, I know you can get all the Assassin's Creed games on later generations anyway, so they have their remasters, they have that, so, like, theirs aren't gone. I can't speak for all the other games, like Far Cry 3 you can get. But it's the PC versions of those that, they kind of force you into purchasing the remasters, even if you don't want to. So, Ubisoft doesn't make always the best decisions, but, I love them still to this day. Not necessarily Ubisoft, the games that they make, because Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite franchises of all time. But that is also part of the reason why I own it on every platform. So I personally won't lose out on anything of that sort, but it's still kind of a bummer for the people who might not have been able to afford a PS4, PS5, or a decent PC. I mean, hell, I can't afford a new PC, and I need to, because this is probably going to crash during this show. I will come right back if it does. So bear with me if that is the case. That's a good point. That's a good point, Ray. The terms of DLC contract may be a violation of purchase agreement. Yeah, it's very possible that. I mean, I'm sure there's something in there. I mean, you'd really have to go and dive into it a lot to see what that could entail. I'm sure there's a timing for something like that. And again, I don't know exactly how that works. This article at least just says the PC versions of all these games will be losing access to DLC. This includes trying to reinstall previously purchased DLC. So yeah, again, if you got the money, They go on sale a lot, so it's definitely something. But yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, but these things happen. So, and I mean, you can't keep a PS3 server open forever. I mean, eventually things have to go away, which does suck. But they do need to open it up for something else to happen with those DLCs. They got to make sure that people can still get access to them. We paid for them, right? Like, we own that, and that's why I've even started leaning more towards getting physical releases of games, because I don't want to ever lose out on that. Not that it matters too much, because the disc means nothing. I get everything digitally these days, and I'd hate to even think in 10 years that, like, most of the games that I have on my PlayStation 4 and 5 that I won't be able to access ever again, because they could just do it. And all the disc does is it goes in there and it downloads it from the internet, and the disc means nothing. It just is proof of purchase, essentially. So we will see. All right, moving on to our next story here, guys. I'm going to try to slow down a little bit just because I don't want to get through these too quickly. Again, if you have an opportunity to and want to chime in and you are friends with me on Discord, you can pop in and we will do we can talk about things that are going on here for a little while. We do quick, short bursts of trying to get people in here and give their opinions on the show. All right, so this next one comes from PC Gamer. This is by Molly Taylor over there. Lollipop Chainsaw is getting a remake next year. Now, I never played Lollipop Chainsaw. It always seemed like more of a really goofy, just way to watch a cheerleader fuck shit up. But I also always wanted to give it a shot. So let's read this article here. After vaguely announcing in June that Lollipop Chainsaw was back, we now have confirmation that a remake is in the works and set to release sometime next year. Yoshima Yasuda, former CEO of Kadokawa Games, I butchered names so bad, I'm so sorry, and producer on the original Lollipop Chainsaw, is returning to remake the game under his new studio, Dragami Games. According to Frontline JP, some of the original development team is returning to work on the game alongside new Dragami developers. Yasuda said he purchased the rights to the game from Kadokawa, Kadokawa, saying the original Lollipop Chainsaw team think of the game as very precious and lamented how he did not want to leave it in limbo, where players who want to play it cannot. More Jessica Nigri in that outfit, absolutely. Oh, I got to allow that. Yeah, let's go. She got her fame because of that, really. Like, that was one of her, Jessica Nigri's one of her biggest cosplays was this. There will be a couple of differences between the remake and the original, some of which I'm not super jazzed about. The licensed soundtrack will be overhauled, with only a few of the original songs carrying over to the remake. Lollipop Chainsaw's soundtrack was pretty incredible with songs like The Runaways, Cherry Bomb, and Riot Rhythm. Everybody can get Cherry Bomb again. That's in everything. So it'll be a shame to see the majority of the game's 16-song soundtrack vanish. Apparently, the remake will also be taking a more realistic approach to the graphics, which could mean absolutely anything. While I would be completely happy with just seeing a PC port of the original, a full-blown remake sounds pretty fun too. I hope it manages to retain its colorful and outlandish style, which I'm sure will be the case. There's a handful of the original dev team behind it. There's no announcement of which platforms the remake will hit, but I'll be over here keeping my fingers crossed for a PC version at long last. So yeah, I never played Lollipop Chainsaw, but games getting remakes these days, I do personally think is super exciting. Trying to maintain the legacy of old games, similar to what we were just talking about with like DLC and like the server shutting down. There's ways to keep the legacy of games alive. I wish there was more with backwards compatibility. I mean, Xbox does a great job with that, or Microsoft does. Sony really doesn't. Nintendo kind of does here and there. Like, you have to go above and beyond to get these things. That's where like emulators and piracy comes into place, which is unfortunate because I'd rather just give my money to the people who make these. But getting people to remake it is a great way to have us see that game again. Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake is outstanding. It, like, the fact that is a newer age. I mean, I don't mind that they do this because we're in an era of nostalgia for at least my generation of people out there when it comes to video games. And going back is never much of an issue, but with how gaming has advanced and everything, it makes it so much more exciting when you're like, man, I remember playing this when I was 10 years old, and now you're playing it when you're 33 years old, and you're like, it's the same game but way different. Final Fantasy VII Remake was a big deal. That's one of my favorite games of all time, both the original and the new one. King Kong Dong, Diablo 2 remake as well, that's a huge thing. They're doing a Last of Us remake, which, yes, that game is only 10 years old, but let's fucking go, dude. I'm so excited for that. I play that game over and over again, and even just how good that game still looks to this day, an upgrade, why not? They did remasters, remake it. It's not even just about them making money, and I'm all for original ideas, but why not? I don't see why. I don't find a downside to it, personally. That's my thing. I don't find a downside to it. I would, after the Final Fantasy VII remake is done, I want to see other Final Fantasies get remade. For the people out there who fell in love with Lollipop Chainsaw, I'm probably going to try it this time. It was just one of those games that I might have played when it came out, and I skipped it because, well, I didn't have a lot of money. Not that I do these days either, but that's just a great thing to do, and let's go, dude. Like, super exciting, and even a more realistic approach. I'm all for that, because the colors and everything that comes about from it can be super fun. Yeah, that's all on Lollipop Chainsaw. Let's move on to our next one here. This one got me super excited. This next one also comes from Gaming Bolt. I grab these articles randomly. I have an app on my phone called GameScope that just gives me, like, it gives me all these, it puts together all the stuff from, like, gaming news networks or gaming news media and puts them all in one spot so I can go through them. And once I see one, I just bookmark it and go from there. I don't even read these articles really beforehand because I listen to it all week. Anyway, I'm talking fast again. Oh, excuse me. But this one, yeah, coming from Gaming Bolt, this is by Shubhankar Parijat. I'm butchering these. Inscription seems to be heading to PS4. The widely acclaimed roguelike deck-building horror game has received a classification rating for the PS4 in Australia. As anyone who played it will gladly tell you, Inscription was, without the shadow of a doubt, one of the best games of 2021. Its strikingly unique art style, its ingenious story and the way it was told, its incredible execution and blend of roguelike and deck-building mechanics, and how all those elements were brought together to create something wholly unique. There's not enough praise for what Inscription is. Last year, the game launched exclusively for PC, but it seems it'll soon become available to a much larger player base. The game recently received a classification rating for the PS4 in Australia, suggesting that a port could be announced soon. Though the rating only mentions PS4, there's a chance that the announcement, if there is one, is for multiple additional platforms. It wouldn't be the first time that this has happened with Australian ratings. I watched Markiplier play all of Inscription, and I loved watching that game. I don't know what it was. I'm not a card game player, especially in video game styles. I don't like Gwent. I don't like Hearthstone. It's just, they're not my thing. But watching Inscription and the story and everything that was told, I don't know if any of you guys saw this or played it. It's so interesting, and what a unique style of game. I heard about it like crazy when it was coming out. I saw one video of it and I was like, oh, it's a card game. I'm not really interested. And then as I watched more and more of it, I was just so enthralled by it. So to see this coming to PS4, hopefully other things as well. This is a game I would 100%, if it's capable, buy on my Nintendo Switch or my Steam Deck. Well, I mean, I guess that's not that, you could probably already do that now. But playing that like mobilely would be mobilely. It's just so much fun. It's called Inscription. It's on PC right now, but yeah, it's wild. And I would love to play that on my Switch. That is for sure. I mean, I'll probably buy it on the PS4 just to try it, because there's mechanics, like when you watch people play it, that I want to try out and do other things and see how quickly you can get through it. But that's super awesome. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. I don't have a Let's Play on it because I don't want to buy it on PC. But check out some other people out there. There's a lot of people who played it. All right. Moving on, let's go to this next one really quick, just because it's kind of in line with the same aspect. This is coming, I guess this is straight from Xbox Wire on Microsoft's account, apparently. Power Wash Simulator is ready to clean up with Game Pass. Hell yes, dude. As gamers, you're probably used to taking on hordes of demon invaders, racing through exotic locals in crazy expensive sports cars. Okay, this is literally just... Okay, this isn't really a news article. I should have probably looked into that, but Power Wash Simulator is coming to Game Pass. Fuck yeah! This is another one of those games that I don't know if you've seen or watched or played at all, but I mean, it's exactly as it is. It's Power Wash Simulator, and it is one of the most relaxing games I've ever watched being played online before, and I will 100% be doing this. It's coming out on both Xbox and PC starting July 14th for Game Pass. Of course, you can play it on PC exclusively right now if you purchase it, but yeah, this is just going to be a quick one. I just thought it was super exciting because, again, another one I've watched Markiplier play every episode of, and I adore this game. And I'm super excited. And if you have Game Pass is worth it. It's the best value in gaming, and I don't think there's any joke. But yeah, there's Power Wash Simulator. July 14th, baby. So, oh shit, that's next week. Oh, hell yeah. I know what I'm doing next weekend. All right, moving on to our next one here, guys. So I put this up, I grabbed this article a couple days ago, so I'll skip around a few of the things, but another thing on Ubisoft Forward Reveal live stream announced. The next big Ubisoft Forward Reveal live stream will be broadcast on Saturday, the 10th of September at 8 p.m. UK time, because this article is coming from Eurogamer by Tom Phillips, trying to give credit where credit's due here. The event will detail multiple games from Ubisoft teams around the world. It will follow a dedicated Skull and Bones showcase. That was yesterday. I think the thing that I'm taking from this is what type of games we're going to see. There's that Avatar game that was announced. They're also working on a Star Wars open world game, which I don't think we'll see. I think that's way too new. I'm hoping that we see something on the Assassin's Creed Infinity, or whatever it's going to be called, the live service Assassin's Creed game that they're really boasting about right now. They're probably also going to at least talk about the Assassin's Creed game that was going to be Valhalla DLC, but it ended up being too big, so it's going to be its own standalone game. They'll probably show more on Skull and Bones, I would assume. Well, no, wait, September. Yeah, they'll probably show a little bit more on Skull and Bones, because Skull and Bones was announced yesterday to come out November 8th, which I'm saying it right here, right now, and I said it yesterday during my live react, which you can watch if you want on my YouTube channel. Skull and Bones is going to get delayed. And I'm not saying that because I think it needs polish or anything like that, because there are elements in that game that I think look fantastic. Even watching another clip from it yesterday. It's because it comes out the day before God of War. So, no way do they release it. So, that's that. But, they'll also probably show off some more of the Mario plus Rabbids. What else? The Avatar tie-in, yeah. Free-to-play Division game, which I think they just announced the other day. So, I mean, it's exciting because Ubisoft has a lot of things in the pipeline that people are excited to see. Does anybody remember Beyond Good and Evil 2? That was announced like a decade ago. And that's haven't shown anything on that in a long time. I know nothing about the first one. I remember seeing the trailer for 2 and went, all right, cool. All right. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. So something to look forward to. And I really hope we see the Avatar game for sure, because especially they'd want to, because that's apparently still slated for this year. So I would assume that if they show off more of the Avatar game in September, that we will see it right before the release of Way of Water, which I also cannot wait for. I don't care if you don't like the Avatar movie. I fucking love it. I think it's great. And I'm excited for an open world Avatar game. All right. What is next? I have one I'm saving for the end, but, well, kind of. Okay, so this next one gets me really excited. But this was already something, I mean, it was already announced. So this comes from IGN by Casey David Taylor. Square Enix explains how Final Fantasy Crisis Core Remaster will differ from the original. No, sorry, before I go into that, no, Ray, I don't think there's no info on the Avatar game. They showed a brief trailer before. There's not really anything else out there for it. That's about it. Final Fantasy VII fans have been clamoring for more details after last month's announcement of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Fuck yeah. A remaster of 2007's Crisis Core. God, that came out in 2007? Holy shit. Square Enix Twitter gave us a tiny taste of what we can expect to see in the full game. According to Square, the Zack Fair-centric game will differ from the original in several ways, including an improved camera and character models. In last month's trailer, we got a glimpse at the fast and frantic combat, as well as the much-improved character models. The game is using the same designs for Aerith and Zack from the Final Fantasy VII Remake, as well as improving other character models. Players will also get an optimized UI, as well as a new menu-based battle system. While details on the battle system haven't been revealed, which I think they talked about it in another thing like yesterday, doesn't matter. The glimpses we've gotten of the battle system don't appear to be too far off from the original and still include the slot machine-like DMW system. The Final Fantasy VII compilation has always included some great music, and Crisis Core Remaster will include new background music arrangements by Takaharu Ishimoto. The remaster will also feature voiceovers and scenes that were previously text only. Crisis Core originally released back in 2007 on the PSP. It serves as a prequel to Final Fantasy VII and follows Zack Fair on his journey to find missing soldier Genesis. So there's your answer to that question. Yes, it was on the PSP. One of the only Final Fantasy VII spin-offs besides like the mobile ones that I never got to play because I didn't want to buy a PSP. I wanted one, but it was a lot of money. I remember standing in the store at Target one day. It was probably like 2008, 2009. And I'm staring at the PSP up there. They even had the adapter to go into the TV so I could play it on the TV. And I was that close to buying it. And I did it. And I do regret that since I never got to play Crisis Core originally. Because there was a whole fiasco apparently after with somebody named Gax. I don't know enough about it. I read it years ago, but he does something in the game. I think it has to do with like either his music or his likeness, and that was the reason why Crisis Core was never able to be released digitally again. They couldn't reproduce it, I think is what it was, if I'm remembering this correctly. So they couldn't like put the game out again. So I'm guessing that with all the changes that they're making with the new version, they've eliminated all of that. Because they do say that this is a ground-up remake, just using the basis of what it is. I'm happy that this is going to be here. I also have, during the PlayStation State of Play, I have my React up for that on my YouTube channel as well. Do I? Yeah, I do. So that's fantastic. And no, that's not when it was announced. That was announced. Doesn't matter. No, they did I didn't get to live react to that one, to the Final Fantasy one, the Square Enix one. It doesn't matter. But I can't wait to play this game. It's gonna hold me off until Rebirth comes out, which will be a whole nother year. But it comes out in the winter. That's all they say. So it's probably gonna come out in like March. If it came out this year, I'd be shocked, since they just said winter. But we'll see. And it's super exciting that myself being included in that a lot of people get to finally experience this part of the story that will emphasize so much in how Remake does things and the original game in itself. So, all right. Let's move on to the next story. Sorry if I'm going too fast for you guys. I'm just getting through it, Yeah. Obviously, I know none of you guys can pop in today since it seems like, well, we got one in the hospital, two at work, but that's okay. This next one I found pretty funny. So, again, I know that the chat is a little bit behind, so Chime in whenever you can. I did find this one kind of funny, but I also understood it. This is from Game Rant. Pam Ferdinand. Schools are issuing parental warnings over Poppy Playtime's Huggy Wuggy fears. Schools in the UK issue warnings to parents about Huggy Wuggy, the scary blue toy from MOB Games horror titles Poppy's Playtime. In late 2021, the first chapter of a quirky survival horror game called Poppy Playtime launched and was a surprising hit that began to make the rounds on gaming YouTube and Twitch channels. Riding the coattails of the lasting fervor created by 2014's Five Nights at Freddy's and its sinister animatronics, Poppy Playtime also featured malicious toys whose goals were to not make friends with the playable character. Similar to Five Nights at Freddy's, MLB Games endeavor to turn a boring real-life job into an entertaining horror fest by putting players into the role of a former toy factory employee who returns to the now-abandoned edifice after the staff mysteriously disappears. One of the first things the player encounters upon entering the buildings is Huggy Wuggy, an absolutely unsettling toy, quotes in the article as well, with razor-sharp teeth and a gigantic smile that can creep out even the most stalwart horror game aficionados. Like the terrifying Momo sculpture that became the centerpiece of an alleged internet challenge a few years back, Huggy Wuggy has become the new mascot for schoolyard hijinks that have had lasting negative effects on a young child's mental health. Children have been mimicking the blue horror at school, frightening and potentially even traumatizing their peers. Things have gotten so bad that some schools in the UK have even issued warnings to parents about letting their kids view videos featuring the unnerving blue creature. Real quick, I will show you guys. There he is. That's Huggy Wuggy. You probably get a better look right there. Poppy's Playtime if you haven't seen him. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh my God. So that's him right there. There's more to this article, so I'm gonna read some more of it. Part of the problem stems from the fact that the name Huggy Wuggy seems innocuous enough and therefore slips through various parental controls. The reality, however, according to mental health officials is that Poppy Playtime's Huggy Wuggy can cause real terror for some children. The Suicide Awareness and Mental Health Initiative released a statement that parents are urged not to let their children watch the terrifying TikTok and YouTube videos of the killer Teddy. Prior to this alert from schools, police in both the UK and US had also issued warnings about Poppy Playtime and Huggy Wuggy in particular, stating that the blue toy sang songs about killing. However, although frightening, Huggy Wuggy doesn't sing songs in Poppy Playtime. Third-party videos have been created that showcase the sharp-toothed plaything singing a song with lyrics, "I could just hug you here, forever, forever, till you breathe your last breath." These creations have been ubiquitous on social media video platforms and are not viewed by many as official Poppy Playtime lore. It's important for parents to realize that Poppy Playtime, despite being about toys, is not intended for children. In the US, the indie game doesn't have an ESRB rating at all, but it is rated PEGI 12 in the UK, which means it is inappropriate for children under the age of 12. The PEGI description also states that games with this rating could contain non-realistic violence towards human-like characters. Poppy Playtime is currently available on mobile and PC. Oh, it's on mobile. Oh, cool. Sorry, that was a long-winded article, but jokes aside, because at first, again, I did kind of find it a little bit entertaining, like funny, but now that I've actually read the entire article, I mean, that could be pretty serious, because like it is a terrifying game. And I won't say it's not super serious, but I mean, that's always going to come down to what you let your kids watch. And I guess I definitely can understand that, like, I mean, it's through the parental controls. So that's kind of a big deal. So I would love to see the ESRB at least rate this game so that people can understand, or with concerns like this, you know, it's not just the fact that it's a video game, and I don't believe that video games, are, just because I've played GTA for years doesn't mean that I'm going to go run people over, it has nothing to do with that. But if you have seen anything on this game, it is quite terrifying. And just like Five Nights at Freddy's, it gives you a sense of like, oh, we're cool because it's a toy and it's a big blow-up thing or whatever, and then it's just not. So if you have children out there, I would definitely urge to at least let them know about something like this, because it can be kind of serious just for the reason of it it's misleading. It can definitely be that. We draw the line at summoning demons, yeah, definitely. I would urge away from this one for sure. Again, there's great scary stuff out there. This one's unnerving. It definitely can be, but I mean, you watch it first and choose for yourself what your kids watch and all that. Yes, King Kong, Modern Warfare 2 remake is still a thing. It's coming out this year. I'm going to skip this next article. Nope. Okay. So we're getting to the butt end of some things here, guys. So this next one is the most exciting news of the week. God of War release date, baby. Woo! Let's go! November 9th, 2022. This is from Chris Pernia at GameSpot. We finally know when God of War Ragnarok is coming. God of War Ragnarok is coming out. Sony today confirmed Ragnarok's. Oh my God! It's my fucking pantheon, and I can't even say Ragnarok. The release date on PS4 and PS5 as November 9th, 2022, making good on the repeated reassurances that it would be available this year. The long-awaited release date was announced as part of a short new CG trailer, and it shows Kratos and Atreus squaring off against various foes and talking about not being alone before squaring off against what appears to be Fenrir or Fenris. There's going to be so many different versions, so this article goes into all of it, and I'll read it off for all of you guys here as well. As for different editions of the game, there will be 4 versions of Ragnarok available for purchase: Standard, Digital Deluxe, Collectors, and the Jotnar editions. The latter 3 all include access to both the PS4 and PS5 versions of the game. If you buy the Standard PS4 edition, you'll have the option of a $10 upgrade to get the PS5 version. So just buy the PS5 version, or depending on your budget, right? Prices for the editions have not been announced, which is pissing me off because I gotta know what I gotta get. But the Jotnar edition, which is the one I am 100% getting, no doubt in my mind, it looks like a high price option, yeah, as it includes a vinyl record, pin set, cloth map, and a 16-inch Mjolnir replica, and more. I watched the unboxing with it with Ryan Hurst, who's playing Thor. Fuck, I can't wait, dude. Ragnarok was previously confirmed to be releasing in 2022 after it was delayed last year. Cory Barlog, who directed the previous game of the series, gave an update on the project in April, saying the developers are perfectionists and are heads down hard at work. Since then, developers at the studio have been harassed over the lack of a release date, with reports that it was set to be announced in late June. That's something we talked about last week a little bit. About how awful that was, and that's probably why this ended up just being a Twitter post. There might have been something else that they were planning on doing, and they might have just been like, no, we're not going to do that now. Because it was just Twitter post, God of War, November 9th, done. Here's the details, here's the collector's editions, moving on. Which I get if that's actually the case. I'm just speculating, of course. But it would be nice to see... I don't know where I was going with that thought anyway, but I already took the day off. Like, I took the day off of work. It's definitely my most anticipated game, not of just this year, but of the last couple years. I have played God of War 2018 probably 5-6 times since its release, so I've played it at least once, almost twice a year. I'm going to say I played it once a year since it's come out, for sure. I just recently platinumed it. I don't platinum games, but I went for it, and it's probably only my 4th game I've ever platinumed on anything. And I'm hoping that we get a quick state of play, just giving us a little bit more of the gameplay, but I don't need it. I don't need it. I want them to market it more and more, but just so other people get to be like, oh, okay, cool, looks different. But man, I can't wait. I'm so excited. God of War is just going to be, it's going to be hard to beat Elden Ring as game of the year, especially when it comes to a sequel. And the reason behind that, I believe, is Elden Ring being fresh, new, this banger of a game. I mean, I couldn't even stop thinking about it for weeks. And I played it and I beat it, and I've never beaten a Souls game before. But just like Horizon Forbidden West, which was an amazing game, and I loved it. Still haven't beaten it because, well, unfortunately, Elden Ring came out. Horizon has a problem with coming out with around a better game, unfortunately. because Breath of the Wild came out when the first one came out, and it deviates my attention. But I want more of the same with God of War Ragnarok. I want the amazing story. I want the single camera shot. I want the same gameplay. I want the characters, the customization, all of that. And people started complaining the moment that they saw the first trailer where they're like, it's the same animation for this, it's the same animation for that. I'm like, what do you want? Like, he's jumping into a boat and it looks the exact same. What's the problem here? I don't understand that. Like, when you get sequels to a game, things don't drastically change like crazy. Just thinking about games off the top of my head, like, you know, Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2, yes, that game was widely better because it just improved on the mechanics that it already made. Same thing from Assassin's Creed 2 to Brotherhood to Revelations. It just improved on the same things. You did the same thing for 4 games. Assassin's Creed 3 came out. I mean, you get my point. They innovated and changed and made things the same while making it slightly different every single time. Horizon Forbidden West did that. The gameplay in 1 is awesome, but the improvements that they made into the sequel, Forbidden West, into Forbidden West, like, they're all the perfect enhancements to how things move, feel, look, do. It's awesome. I mean, it's not like going from the original God of War gameplay to this, which isn't as different as you might think it is if you go back and play those old ones. It's just on older hardware and it feels a little stiffer. So the fact is that with God of War Ragnarok, let's go. Give me the same, but slightly improved. And I think we're still going to get at least a 9 out of 10 game. I mean, again, it's hard to do a 10 out of 10, but as far as I'm concerned, Assassin's Creed 2 did it. Brotherhood did it. I thought Brotherhood was better. I personally like the gameplay mechanics of Assassin's Creed 3 better than those games, and they got, you know, and I use those as an example. Infamous is a great one. Infamous 1 to 2, barely changed. New powers, new that, tighter controls, awesome. Love it. Cannot wait. Which edition you guys gonna get? If you get it. If you guys have played it. Let me know. The next story that I have comes from IGN, and it kind of ties into the God of War release date. So this comes from IGN, from Joe Screbbles. Yes, that's his name. I don't think that's a real name. I think that's a pen name. Forspoken. Square Enix's Forspoken, delayed to January 2023. Square Enix's upcoming action RPG Forspoken has been delayed to January 24th, 2023. Announced on Twitter, developer Luminous Productions, who are the people who made Final Fantasy 15, or at least the engine, explained that the decision was a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, and reassured fans that the game is in its final polishing phase. It's possible that the decision has been made to move the release of the new IP away from other major game releases, like God of War. You don't release around the most anticipated game of the year. It just silly. The delay announcement also says that the game will receive a further showing later this summer. I am really excited for Forspoken. It's made in the Luminous engine, which is the same one made for Final Fantasy 15. I don't know. I was going to look this up really quick because I don't know if the game director was announced. Oh shit! Sorry, the composer for Forspoken is Bear McCreary, who also does God of War. That's awesome. He also did Godzilla King of the Monsters. He's done a lot of other things as well. I wanted to see if it told me who was directing the game. Let me see real quick. I'm on the Wikipedia page. Directors. Okay, no. I thought it might have been Tabata who opened. I believe he works at Luminous Productions as well. But yeah, it's Forspoken. Back to the article here. Forspoken was originally due to be released on October 11th. The date itself followed a delay after the game was originally announced for May 25th. Incidentally, the first delay message also said that the extra months will be used for polishing the game. The PS5 and PC game was announced in 2020. Yeah, we know that. So October 11th was when it was going to come out, which obviously it's not the same, month as God of War. It's, it was a month away from it, but it's a very good move, and I'll bet you anything that Sony themselves went to Square and was like, hey, move it. Or Square did the opposite. I mean, one of the two, they were just like, don't have it near it. Like, Forspoken being a new IP coming out around that time, even if they're different types of games, it's just not a good idea because it just gets lost under the weight. Something like that comes out and it's just going to be too small at that point where it's like, do I want to play this new IP, which, yeah, might look really cool, but like God of War, I know what it is. It's out, and I'm going to do it. So pushing that to January, I think, is a very, very smart move. And I'm very excited for it. I'm excited to see what it does. I hope that it is, I mean, to have Square make a new IP in 2022 is super awesome. And I'm very, very pumped to see what they do with it. Yeah, and the Luminous is aiming for the highest quality visuals ever in an open world game, which is, I mean, if you know the Luminous engine at all from how Final Fantasy 15 was, I mean, that engine caused a lot of the production issues then. I'm sure they got a grip on it. So we shall see. But that's part of the reason I brought this article into it, because I'm almost positive that they moved it because of God of War. Which, again, is why I will say that Skull and Bones should do that, and I think they will. I'm calling it. Release it in January. Release it in December. Get it in your fiscal year. Whatever it has to be. All games move away from that release date. Let God of War have its time. And I'm not saying that just as a God of War fanboy. Just let it have its time. That's it. So that way, when everybody has played it, beaten it, and moved on from it, they can go to your games, and we'll all be very happy. I would love that. Hell, that's what I'll probably do with Forspoken. So, all right. Got a couple more here for you guys. We're getting close to the end here. So the next three articles basically kind of tie into, well, the next two completely tie into each other than the last one, something that just happened recently. So this also comes from GameSpot.com from Darren Bonthius. Man, why can I not read anybody's name? I'm so sorry. I need to meet these people, then they can tell me their name. Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition faces new scrutiny from UK Competition Commission. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority has launched an investigation into Microsoft's planned acquisition of Activision Blizzard, citing a need to probe the deal and see if it will have harmful impact on consumers and competitors. We will consider if gamers could end up paying higher prices with less choice or lower quality, the watchdog organization said in a statement. The CMA's deadline for its investigation and if it'll recommend further action is September 1st, but the organization did add that it's looking for feedback from relevant third parties until July 20th. The acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which is valued at almost $69 billion, nice, is the largest in the gaming industry to date and is under scrutiny by other similar organizations around the world. In the U.S., the Federal Trade Commission began investigating the proposed deal. Recently, the FTC stated that it is planned to more aggressively police similar deals, especially when the biggest technology companies in the U.S. are involved. So, I mean, this is kind of normal stuff when it comes to these big acquisitions. We know that. The fact that the UK is also involved in this, it's not, this deal's going to go through no matter what. I mean, it's pretty much all set in stone. I don't want all these game companies to be bought up by Microsoft and Sony, and like, mostly because competition bodes better results. I mean, at least it should, right? I will be one of those people, though, that will say that for everything that Activision and Blizzard employees have gone through, that's the only real reason I want them under Microsoft's banner, because I know that they have a much better balance of like work, life, all of that. It's better leadership. I'll say it right here. Fuck Bobby Kotick, because he's a piece of shit, and I don't care. Because he's just let too much of the shit go on, and all I want is I want this deal to go through, and I want them to just fire his ass. Yes, he's going to get a payout, or whoever is in charge and all that, they're going to get a payout. That's inevitable no matter what we do, but get the fuck out of here. Just get the fuck, go away. So we'll see, because that deal's supposed to go through by, does it say here? No, it doesn't. It's sometime next year. It's 2023 for sure. Yeah. let's see. Oh, this is the same article that I had next. So, okay, so then this leads into the next part. The Rock. Yeah. So Activision Blizzard employees announce walkout, demand better healthcare and protection from retaliation. The Activision Blizzard King Workers Alliance says demonstrations have been the most effective solution to getting the company to address employee demands. This is another reason why this needs to happen. Also, unionize. Like, I know that they're starting that, and Microsoft even said that Blizzard employees are them who do unionize. They're like, yeah, go for it. Like, absolutely. Like, it's fine. But this is by Jessica Howard. Following the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, a number of Activision Blizzard employees are concerned about what the news could mean for women and the LGBTQ plus workers. As such, the Activision Blizzard King Workers Alliance has scheduled a walkout for July 21st to demand protections of ABK employees from external threats like the recent overturn of Roe v. Wade and internal threats such as retaliation and harassment while in the workplace. In the series of tweets announcing the walkout, the ABK Workers Alliance states that the company's current healthcare policies do not adequately protect its workers. At the present, Activision Blizzard reportedly offers up to $4,000 reimbursements for out-of-state medical care, but leaves employees open to legal prosecution. The alliance demands, including ensuring that workers can safely, affordably, and legally maintain access to life-saving procedures like abortions and trans-affirming health care. Additionally, the ABK Workers Alliance is demanding protection from internal retaliation following claims of harassment and intimidation by the company. While retaliation is prohibited on paper, the company has been actively engaging in union busting for a year now, and employees have been harassed and intimidating for organizing, Alliance members wrote. The protesting workers are therefore demanding that Activision Blizzard begin and maintain dialogue with the members of the Committee Against Sex and Gender Discrimination and legally commit to neutrality in our workers' attempts to organize. In the past year, ABK Workers Alliance has called for multiple walkouts to protest the company's history of discrimination and unethical labor conditions. According to the Alliance, the organization has attempted to work directly with Activision Blizzard management to address issues of this nature, but has repeatedly had its concerns dismissed. The Alliance says that demonstrations have been proven to be the most effective solution to getting the company to address employee demands. So, I mean, I think that article kind of says everything that we need to. With the overturning of Roe v. Wade, we know that this has been a very big deal, and it's not good for a lot of people working in companies. I mean, you even see things where these companies came out and said, we'll give you up to $4,000 of compensation, like, go ahead, like, do this and that, but mostly they seem to do that for reasons that don't get them in trouble. At least a lot of people are talking about that, but I don't really need to say too much more about this. Just reading that whole thing, great article by Jessica Howard there. It's just, yeah. I mean, what else needs to be said about it? It's terrible. And go ahead, walk out, do it, or find a different place. I know it's hard to find a different job sometimes, especially when you work in this industry. Because of how a lot of gaming companies do treat their employees, things seem to be getting slightly better. I can't speak too much of that because I'm just an outside source, but I hope it's getting better, and I hope to see it get better. All right, so we are moving on to our last story for this week's GameWare Weekly, guys. This one came as kind of a shock, but also not really. This one comes from Kotaku by Ethan Gotch. Gotcha. GameStop exec fired. More mass layoffs even as meme stock surges. A ruthless sea change is underway at GameStop. The company fired its chief financial officer, Mike Ricopurio, and initiated another round of mass layoffs. Oh, hey, thanks. Big preach. Where was I? You distracted me. Mass layoffs even as its meme stock continues to soar in price. CEO Matt Furlong told staff in an email reviewed by Kotaku this Thursday that the reductions were, get out of here, Snapple, not buying a Snapple, to help the company operate more nimbly as it pursues profitable through an intense owner's mentality. Change will be constant as we evolve our commerce business and launch new products through our blockchain group. Read the first line of Furlong's email referencing GameStop's recent pivot to crypto. The email went on. After investing heavily in personal technology, inventory, and supply chain infrastructure over the past 18 months, our focus is on achieving sustained profitability, Furlong told staff in an email. Adding, this means elimination excess costs and operating with an intense owner's mentality. Everyone in the organization must become even more hands-on and embrace a heightened level of accountability for results. Before I go more into this article, what the fuck? Get the hell out of here, GameStop. Like, they've been a joke for how many years now? At least, like, the company at large. And it just pisses me off so much that they can that they've gotten away with so much BS over the years. My wife worked for GameStop for a while, and like, it's a game store where people just come in and buy games and move on, and they give these people sales goals with no minimum wage pay, no commission, no nothing. But they're forced to do it, or they risk losing their minimum wage job like crazy. It was terrible when she would tell me how they were treated about that. And then when COVID hit and we all went on lockdown and things were closing down, the fact that they stayed open and they were forcing their employees to come in, they were forcing it. What a joke. I'm baffled by the fact that they are still open, that they are still doing things, and I personally want them to crumble. I don't want people to lose their jobs. I don't want people to get laid off like they are. But the company in itself is just poorly run. Poorly. I even started seeing a lot of people on Twitter, like in games media, retweeting the people who have been laid off, who have worked for both places like Game Informer and GameStop over the past many years, and they're just, now they don't have a job, and it really sucks. I will continue reading the article here. While confirmation of the layoffs began pouring in on LinkedIn, it's not yet clear how many are effective. The layoffs appear to be focused on GameStop's Grapevine, Texas headquarters, but also appear to include some staff at Game Informer. Oh, that's right, they are one thing. Oh my gosh, that is right. The decades-old gaming magazine acquired by the retailer when it bought FuncoLand back in 2000. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. I knew that. I knew that because they always pitched it. GameStop's HQ underwent a similar round of layoffs at the end of May. Those impacted over 100 employees across a range of departments, according to one current and one former employee. GameStop did not immediately respond to requests for comment. I'm gonna read the whole article to finish this up here for you guys. Furlong's email stated that Ricupuro, who only started at GameStop a year ago, who would be replaced by current Chief Accounting Officer Diana Sada Jahe. I'm so sorry, people. Making her the third executive to hold the title in as many years. The email also mentioned a new initiative to make a significant investment in the company's frontline workers, but didn't go into specific details. Despite a $1 billion windfall from a meme stock sell-off last year, that was part of it, didn't make any money, didn't lose any money either. Employees at actual GameStop stores routinely complain about bad pay and burnout. In June, a Nebraska location temporarily closed when employees resigned in protest and told customers to shop elsewhere. I remember seeing that. According to a new SEC filing, Sada SJ will receive a $1,965 transformation bonus paid out in installments through August 2023. I'm reading this for the first time. And $1 million in new stock that will vest next year. That's in addition to the $200,000 annual salary. Many GameStop store employees say they make less than $15 an hour. This article is making me mad as I'm going on. Jesus Christ. This week, GameStop also announced a 4-for-1 stock split that will give investors who already own stock more shares per Investopedia. Although the number of shares outstanding increases by a specific multiple, the total dollar value of all shares outstanding remains the same because a split does not fundamentally change the company's value, noting that the move is often pulled into attempt and help companies boost its liquidity. As a result, GameStop stock has already risen approximately 10% and ended trading at over $135 a share today. Wow. Wow. Oh, God. That all just... The amount. Oh, $2 million transformation bonus paid out in installments? Fuck you! Jesus. I'm pretty sure my wife, when she worked at GameStop, she made like $7. Like that. I mean, I think it was even under... or it was $7.25, the minimum wage. Like, and that was 10 years ago now, or something like that. But even so. That's just so fucked up, man. Just incredible. That type of stuff. I mean, I don't know really what else to say about it. GameStop has been going downhill for years, and it just needs to disappear, as far as I'm concerned again. I don't really have too much more to say about that when it comes to everything, just for the reason of, again, the article, very well written and put together, kind of says it all. So that's the biggest benefit. 4-for-1 split doesn't affect value. They are increasing the liquid assets. It looks like they are bolstering the books for a sale. I know they've been trying to do that for a while. I remember hearing about that for quite some time because they've just been in the... I mean, they keep going down in the gutter, you know, and they always have this bad press all the time, and it's not good for them. And I mean, I can't believe how much money they're making with their stores in general. That's why there was a while back where one of my close friends, he got a job offer to go work for GameStop, and this job offer was to try to go help them like branch off into esports, which I thought was very interesting because they, you know, this was before they were going to go into the crypto stuff, but they were going to try to go into esports and either be like, I don't know the exact details of what it was, but I kept telling him because of everything that I heard about like how GameStop was going down. I was like, don't do it. Like, I feel like you would go into a job like that and then within 6 months that they would just cancel that project. And I haven't heard a single thing about it since he told me. I don't even think that was even brought up. It's possible it was, but I might have just missed it. But I could see them trying to sell. I don't know who would buy them at this point. I feel like I don't know who would benefit from it, to be perfectly honest with you, the way that they handle their locations and their stores. Everything is bought online these days, and don't get me wrong, I used to love going to a GameStop. I haven't been in one in years. Not just because of the stuff that their company itself does. I just don't really have much of a need to go. So, yeah. But those are all the stories I got for you guys today. Yeah. I got to figure out how to do like a good ending for this, you know, but I got my new name for my show, which I got from my friend Baelish on Twitter, GameWare Weekly. I really loved the name. I like the idea of it, you know, instead of software or hardware, GameWare. And it's a really catchy title. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I want to keep doing it. I love talking about games, and hopefully one of these days we can get some more people to actually pop into Discord and we can have a conversation. Otherwise, I'm just reading and giving the best of my opinions as I can. But remember, God of War, November 9th. Let's fucking go, dude. Also, if you guys didn't get a chance to go check out my latest video on my YouTube, well, this will be the latest one when this goes up on Sunday, but go check out my latest video on YouTube where I talk about the new Game Boy adapter that I got. It's really awesome, and it was a fun little video to do. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming to my brand new gaming news show, GameWare Weekly, a show we stream on Fridays, release on Sundays for all the stuff you probably heard on Monday. And until next week, we'll see you.